Can we just have an honest moment? Can we just have an honest moment? This is about the time every season that I start feeling like, okay, I'm over it. Like, why is it 2 hours? Why are the commercials so long? And I know some of y'all watching it on demand. Well, I got Hulu, so I can't fast forward through the commercials until like 2 or 3 days later. Like, I gotta sit and watch the commercials. So it sucks. What's up? How you doing? Ray of Sunshines. I am your girl Talisa Ray, lifestyle coach. We are reviewing Married at First Sight, season number 12, episode 14. I expected a little better. I'm gonna say Virginia and Erik for last. No, I'm not. Let's just start off with it. Let's just go on into it. Let's talk Virginia and Erik. let's just talk Virginia. Let's talk Virginia and Erik. So this is the episode where we get a glimpse, or their spouses get a glimpse into who their past is and who they were in their youth, etc. So Erik takes Virginia to his childhood home, walks her around, shows her photos, talks about how close he is with his family. They're sitting at the table. He's showing photos, how close he is with his family. And you see her sitting there, and then all of a sudden she gets like kind of teary-eyed or whatever, because she feels like he's not making an effort to be close to her family. That she's building relationships with like his sister-in-law and his mother, and they talk often, but he's not doing the same thing. So listen, she wants him to mimic her behavior, right? I don't think that there's anything wrong with her getting to know the family, right? But she won't mimic his behavior and the things that he wants from her. So I find it a bit ironic, a little double standard. I know y'all gonna say it's different, but really is it? Anyway, I say that to say, a little later, we see Erik call her dad. He makes an effort. Here's what she had to say, right? I'm not a fan of Erik's or Virginia's, but he did hear what she had to say. I want you to get to know my dad, my sister, my blah, 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 blah. He reaches out to the dad. FaceTime, not just picks up the phone. Hello, dad, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. No, FaceTimes him, okay? That takes a lot. I don't know this man from Adam. I just really met you, but because it would make you happy, I'm willing to go ahead and give it a try. Erik, though, I think he gives too much information. Like, he shares with her dad that, you know what, that was the conversation that Virginia wanted him to start calling and reciprocating, doing the same thing, but he felt like that he should focus on their relationship first. Of course, dad agrees. He's like, oh, don't apologize. You're doing the right thing. You should get to know her first. She is a lot. And he's nodding his head. Yeah, like, it takes a lot for her to trust people. But once she opens up, she opens up. When he says that, Erik decides to say, you know, I try and tell her how I think marriage should go. And the dad low-key put him in his place. Like, listen, no two relationships are the same. No two marriages are the same. They are different. The end. Don't try and make it, pretty much don't try and make it out to be something that you want, some picture perfect thing in a specific way that you have in your mind, when that's not realistic. Your marriage is tailored to you. It's not gonna be how you see your mother and your father, or your brother and your sister-in-law, right? Like, I'm glad that he said that, because it gave Erik pause. Erik thought he was, you know, had an ally in the dad, and dad was like, yeah, no, I done been married enough to know that each marriage is different. We see them later with Virginia sharing, because she couldn't go back to her hometown. She took him to do something that she loved to do, which was basketball. She played basketball since she was a young girl. Actually, she's pretty good at it, and he does pretty well too. I was kind of shocked, like, well, maybe they just showed us the good parts, but the way the producers are set up, they would have showed us if they was they wasn't doing so great. I wrote down, Virginia really needs therapy, because every time she brings up her family, she starts to cry, or anything about family, her growing up, her parents, his family dynamic, anything that has to do with family, she begins to cry. So she really needs to go and get some help with that. Like, I really feel like she's got those issues that she really needs to work through, but we've been saying that a long time. And so he's trying to console her and says, I want you to know, that I'm on your team and that I'm here for you. I'm here if you need me. She says, oh no, then he says, everyone needs someone all the time. You're not in this alone. She says, can I want you and not need you? Is that what she says? Is that? Yeah. Can I just want you and not need you? Now, I don't know if y'all heard me say it, but I say it all the time. A man, not all men, but normally men need to feel needed. Even if it's not like financial support, but like emotional support. Like they can help you. They want to fix whatever it is that is your issue. So know that I'm here for you. And so he was taken aback by, can I just want you? I understood what she meant. But being that it's Virginia, then you see Bridget visits with Virginia, sits there for a little while. She makes margaritas. I don't see the sister with a margarita. The sister seems exactly like the type of person that would be in Erik's family. Like, she fits in. She's very different, looks very pristine, well put together, speaks well, like doesn't seem like she has a wild side. Like, everything has like every duck has in a row, where when you look at Virginia, she looks disheveled a lot. She's like all over the place. Though she is, we've discovered, pretty smart, she still is not the same. She's still a party girl kind of thing, right? Bridget asks her how's the relationship going? How are things going? How are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. And Virginia says, we argue a lot. We argue a lot. The littlest thing turns into something big, but we haven't argued in the last 3 or 4 days. Like, that's not healthy. If you're arguing a lot and small things are happening, this could be a toxic relationship. This could be one of those things that may not work. This could, if you want it to work, that you're going to have to do a lot of self-reflecting. Like, I feel like I'll just be saying the same thing over and over about these people. Bridget asks her, what are your biggest obstacles in the relationship? Virginia says, you know what? I just want to hang out with my friends. I want to be able to hang out with my friends and, not have any issues. And Bridget lets it be known, like, hey, if the shoe was on the other foot, how would you feel? And you hanging out sometimes with your guy friends and all of that kind of stuff could make Erik feel insecure. I mean, I'm glad that she vocalized that to her, but it still doesn't seem like it resonated with Virginia, that your husband could indeed feel insecure with you out all the time with your guy friends and not including him. She also says to us in the confessional, where she could see that her going out all the time and her putting her friends before her husband all the time is going to be a problem for Erik. Well, Dr. Pepper comes and visits and has one-on-one to discuss more about the unanswered questions. And I'm all like, she couldn't come up with something new. But we already know we didn't get the answers that we wanted last week. So low-key, we kind of happy to see her. The first thing she talked about was their communication. The way that they communicate. Remember, she said, try not having conversations while you guys are drunk or coming off of a bender. All I wrote down was that he said that he understands Virginia more, and that she's opening up. I don't know, I must not have been too like invested in that little scenario. Then they talk about like family and growing a family, or a family. I just wrote the word family. So, but I did write that Erik said that there are a lot of standards that we should have. And one of which being like, infidelity, like there shouldn't be any infidelity that he feels like that she doesn't understand. Dr. Pepper gives them a homework assignment and says, write down your goals for the relationship and how those goals can be supported. How are you guys going to get there together? What are your different goals for the relationship, and write those goals and write down how you're going to support those goals, or how you guys can support them in a relationship, and then discuss them. So we haven't seen that. We didn't get a chance to see that. After Dr. Pepper leaves, they have like a little bit of a conversation, and Virginia says, I feel like you get stuck in the standards. Like you have this list of standards that you want me to follow. And he said, it's not, it's a few of them, you know what I mean? And you know, we can have a conversation and we can change them. I pretty much just really feel like Virginia just really needs to stay single. She doesn't understand that you cannot be out and spend the night out with your friends, whether your husband is gone or not, right? It's not gonna be okay. It's gonna be uncomfortable. She's just not getting it. She's like, if you're not here, why can't I stay out with my friends? And so he makes a concession and says, well, when I'm home, you should be here, right? But if you're, well, I'm just not clear on what this hold her friendships have on her that she cannot relinquish. That means that she's not ready to be married. That she definitely needs to stay single, especially if she feels like she needs to be out partying all the time, making plans for every weekend with her friends and not coming home. For me, that's an issue. I don't know. You guys, let me know down below in the comments. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't think you guys will disagree with me on this, but who knows? Some of you may, and I want you to do it down below in the comments. I just feel like she needs to cut her losses. He needs to cut his losses. When he said, I'm over it, he was talking about the conversation this time. He wasn't saying the actual relationship, but we both know that they're going to say yes at the end, though that they should say no and just maybe date if they feel like that they should be together. They should just date when this is over, right? Don't go moving in with one another, date, get to know each other, walk in and get you a divorce if it ain't working out, right? So the next couple we're going to talk about is Briana and Vincent. We see her sharing her dance life, right? Because she used to be a dancer when she was younger and she didn't pursue it because she felt like there was no money in being a full-time dancer. Has she ever heard of Misty Copeland? Okay. But went for what she knew would bring in money, some sound, hard cash, which was an engineer. So when Vincent comes, he says, show me if you had $100,000 on the line, show me what you would do, like how you gonna win $100,000. She just do a little tap dance, and he laughs and was like, yeah, no, you don't get the money or whatever. I think she feels a little slighted because he feels like she feels like he should just be supporting her, period, right? Which, in relationships, tell me how great I am and also tell me the truth. Like, find the thing that's good about what I did. Oh, babe, yeah, that was great, but yeah, I don't know, something. I could see where, but it's all in fun. Nonetheless, when they sit down and they have a conversation, she talks about her childhood and how she thought that she was ugly because she was, dark skinned, and there's a whole dark skin versus light skin thing, and that she wasn't until she got older that she realized that she was beautiful, and dance is the thing that helped her be confident, right? And I'm gonna just be honest with you, she's not the only one that has that plight. I'm not trying to diminish how she was feeling. I'm just saying that I think all women have some type of insecurities, and at some point in our life may not have felt as pretty as we would have liked. No matter what anyone tells you, they have had an insecure moment or 5. As they're talking, I wrote down, he always go back to his future children and what he wants, because he said that he thought that she would make a good mom. And she talks about how they're going to make sure that they're supported and talented and gifted and la 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 la, and says, but that's a long time off from now. You can see visibly he's hurt by that. And she's all like, what? Like, what do you mean, what? You can see visibly that you saying that it's a long time off from now hurt him. Maybe right now wasn't the right time. Maybe you guys need to have more conversations about it. Like, maybe you aren't as equally as yoked as you think you are. Well, Dr. Pepper comes to visit with them, and we talking about unanswered questions. So the first thing we start talking about, of course, was the easier of the two, which was about sleeping habits, allowing him to sleep in. We talked about that, and some of y'all was in the comments like, listen, don't wake me up from my sleep. Let me sleep in. Listen, we like a good sleep. Listen, sleep is vital. I don't understand why Briana ain't sleeping in. Sleep be good to me, okay? When I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping. Nevertheless, when asked like what could be a compromise, Briana goes back to Like he's on his phone 30 minutes to an hour after I've already fallen asleep. How do you know that if you're asleep? Because you're not asleep. Anyway, so you know, he's on the phone 30 minutes to an hour after I sleep, and I feel like if he stops and he can get up, the extra time that he's asking for in the morning, that he can get up. Like, it's not a compromise, like Vincent said, right? And Dr. Pepper says, how about you guys come to a compromise that says on X days you get to sleep in, on Y days you don't. And then she also pointed out the fact that he feels like he's being judged when he's like, I don't want her to think that I'm lazy. I'm literally tired. And she was like, I don't think that you're lazy. I just want to get up and have breakfast together, or this and that. Like, let the man sleep. He'll be better for it. Can you imagine when you get awakened out your sleep early, how groggy and grumpy you are? You do be like, I know now when them kids come waking me up, I'd be like, what? Like, is the house burning down? Oh, you hungry? Go make a sandwich. And after after Dr. Pepper shares the compromise, you can see in Brianna's face that she doesn't want to compromise, that's not a thing that she wants to do. Like, to her, it's unrealistic. Go to sleep earlier, you'll be able to get up earlier. The man said, sometimes I need to sleep in. She's like, sometimes the 30 minutes turn into like 2-3 hours. Let him sleep. That's proof that he's tired. Anybody who sleeps for 3 hours after they say they're gonna get up in 30 minutes, that means that they are tired, right? Then here's where, you know, a more difficult question comes in. How would you feel about her not giving birth, like birthing the children? His body language is very closed off. His arms are folded. You know, he's not really receptive to the conversation. But what he did say is that we said we would do some research about what, you know, what her needs are, what she would need if she had gotten pregnant. What's her face? Briana says, you know what? I didn't say that I don't want to have children. I just, you know, want to wait a while, and these are my issues. And then Dr. Pepper asked, how would you feel about adopting children? He might as well have said hell no. All he said was, I didn't think about that. I hadn't considered that. It goes with the political correct or the athlete speech. If you're reading Shonda Rhimes' The Year of Yes. So it's called athlete speech. You know, you're just smiling and saying what someone wants to hear, what's politically correct. He really wanted to say, hell no, I want my own seed, my own loin. I don't want to adopt children. IVF is an option too. Like, they have options. Surrogates, not IVF, because that means she would still carry it. I mean surrogates. There are a lot of options that people have. So Vince takes her to a Dominican bodega / restaurant so that she can see the authenticity of like Dominican food and stores. So she, you know, and explains like what it is. And she says that he looks more comfortable, like it's his environment. He knows what he's talking about, you know, and that's when you're most confident. He again speaks about how he grew up, you know, poor in the struggle, and he lived with his aunt and his dad wasn't around. And he said in the Dominican, you were either poor or you weren't. There was no middle class. You know, he's really trying to give her like insight on who he is and how he thinks. And she said in her little confessional that they grew up differently, right? Different lifestyles. He also shared that, you know, he wishes that he had more of like the traditional role, the more, you know, mother, father, kids kind of role in his life. And that's when she asked, like, is that why you're so family oriented, or you want things a specific way? And I really feel like this is when I say that they're a mismatch, because what he wants is not what she wants. He wants the family, the white picket fence, the stability where he can provide for his family and watch his children grow and see his legacy in his children. She wants adventure, right? And maybe she wants just adventure first, but they're in two different stages of their life as for what they want. So I don't know how they're gonna compromise. Neither one of them seem to be really good on compromising shit. So let's talk about Clara and Ryan, okay? We go to Clara's childhood home, and Ryan sits and talks with Clara's mother by herself. He asks, are there any, like, do you have any tips for me. I couldn't think of the word, y'all. And she said patience with Clara is key. Patience is key. Respect her and love will come. So for you know, Ryan, he's all like, yeah, respect her and love will come. Clara's already loved, okay? We found that out this time and last time. But nevertheless, Ryan tells her, expresses to his mom that, you know, one of the things that we're having issue with is that I want to raise my children in the church, where that's not what Clara wants to do. You know, she wants to be more innovative. And Clara's mom shares with Ryan that she didn't go to church before she had Clara. Clara was about 5 months and she was at, you know, a children's day thing at church, and then she knew that that's how she wanted to grow up how she wanted to raise her child, that was what she wanted for her life. And she didn't know what she didn't know until she found out what she knew, which is what she wanted, a religious, spiritual base for her child. Ryan gets excited and he's glad to hear that, but he has to understand that Clara is not her mom, and Clara seems hell-bent on not wanting to do that for her children because she was made to go to church. So don't go by what Clara's mom's saying thinking that that's going to work out for Clara too. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be highly disappointed. You're going to be highly disappointed, Ryan. Sort of like Clara is now. They sit and they talk about the things that she couldn't do, you know, when they're getting to know her, right? Which was MySpace and the Usher's Confession. And that made me think about what kind of shit were we listening to when you think about when you were younger, and the stuff like t-shirt and my panties on. Like, why am I singing that? I think that was in the early 90s. I was still in high school. Fast ass. Adina Howard. I need a freak in the morning. Freak. What? Got a roughneck. Gotta get a roughneck. What? Like, what? What was we listening to? You got that butter love, babe. What was we listening to? Humps and the bumps. Humps and the bumps. We like the girls with the humps and the, like, we was really, oh, me so horny. Like, literally, I just started thinking of like a lot of songs that we was just like singing to, that really got into our subconscious, because I was fast. When I turned 16, honey, I was like hot in the panties, okay? The one piece of information that the mom asked, the one piece of information that the mom said that I appreciated was that decision day is every day. It's not just in 2 weeks, Ryan, Clara. It's every day. Every morning you wake up and you decide that this is the person you want to be with and this is the relationship that you want. It is a conscious decision that you work and you make effort towards. Every single day, it's a conscious decision. The day that you no longer want to be in that relationship is the day that you shouldn't, right? It is a conscious effort. Anyway, so Dr. Pepper visits, wants to talk about their unanswered questions. And the first one is about, did you talk to Clara about how she feels about sex and not having it and her frustration? And I just wrote down, I really feel like she is not being 100% to herself. Right? She talks about how she asked in her interview to get someone who where the relationship wasn't physical first. And look, this is what I got. Like, but she's still not being honest about her needs and her desires and how she really feels about it. Clara says that she shows him daily with her actions that he knows that she wants to be in this. Really, probably that she loves him. Daily with her actions, she's giving BJs and hand jobs every day. That is her showing him that he cares, that she's ready. Dr. Pepper asks, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? And he says, I don't want to let I love you or where I love you out. I don't want to say I love you so much that it loses its value. What? Huh? You don't even know if it's going to lose its value because you've never told a significant other, a partner, a boo, a bae that you love them. So you have no clue. You have no clue. And you can start off by saying, I love you because I love you when you do this. I love this about you. I love when we spend this kind of time together. That is still a form of love. Like, what are you doing, Ryan? You sound real crazy. I wrote down, I honestly think that he does not listen to what people say. Not only does he not listen, and if he is listening, he is not receiving what they're saying. Because he always looks like he has a blank stare, and like in the back of his mind, he's saying, I don't care what you think, I don't care what you say, this is how I feel, the end. I also wrote down that Clara, like I said all the time, is always so open in her confessionals. And she shares that, you know, all this stuff, and that, you know, she's never this vulnerable with him. From what we can see, we don't, you know, they only give us glimpses, so we don't know what happens when the bedroom door closes. But what we do know is that he doesn't know half the shit of how she's feeling. So a little later, we see them doing Dr. Pepper's exercise. Write a letter to your younger self and then share it with your spouse. Now, like Clara is telling us that has been feeling awkward lately after the conversation with Dr. Pepper, you know, and that she feels like she's in love with Ryan and that he will never ever get there. I was like, girl, you in love in 6 months? I mean, that's 6 weeks, you in love? You just don't love things about him? You're actually in full-on love? Okay, girl. So I wrote though that Clara's letter was very vulnerable and honest and realistic and open, and like I felt like she really put some thought into that letter, where Ryan was full of shit. Where he just said, you know, I wouldn't change anything, that life is great, pretty much, and that, you know, he knows who he is and embrace it or some shit. I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, but I also wrote down, in all fairness, women are more tapped into our emotional easily. We easily do, not always, not all of us, but let me say some of us can easily tap into the things that we want to see differently about ourselves. We get an assignment, we know how to immerse ourselves in that, where men are more rational and logical about what they're going to write down. So for him, nothing needs to change. Child. I wrote down on that couch, she is visibly frustrated with his response, with him, and he is not picking up on any of it. Like, how are you missing all these things about your wife that you were with? Like, he's socially inept. I kind of feel like that there's something missing in the social norms of people that he's missing, right? Yeah, the cues and whatnot. Let's talk about Hailey and Jacob, shall we? Like, all of these couples are in trouble. Hailey and Jacob are no different. So they're at the batting cage. Hailey is hella competitive. So much so that she got there early so she could practice, because she hadn't played softball in a while. Well, he shows up. She makes fun of him for one, not hitting but 2 of 20 balls, because she hit 8 out of 10. And number 2, for coming in his jeans and his dress shoes and his typical Jacob uniform. He's 10 years your senior. He's 38. So when he tells you that he's uncomfortable with tennis shoes or whatever, it is what it is. We already know that he's awkward, weird, quirky, different. But I mean, you would expect him to come to the batting cage in tennis shoes. But what he said was, I'm not doing any running, so... And the only reason I say that is because of the grip of the shoe, right? But what kind of shoes are those he had? Are they rubber sole? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like the way she goes about it is a little bit belittling to him. Okay? So then a little later, because that was her sharing... Let me not go a little later. That's her sharing her childhood with him. She used to be in all kinds of sports and everything, and she talked about how when she was younger, her stepdad took her to t-ball, and she didn't want to put a helmet on. And then she went out and laid a blanket out and got in the sun. And he was like, oh, you was a bit of a diva early on. Yes. She was like, I wasn't seen it as a diva. I wasn't a diva. Well, what would you call it, ma'am? You were a diva. He hit the nail on the head and you are offended by it because he is calling you out on your shit like you called him out on them shoes. Y'all know I'm Team Jacob. Even though he weird, he quirky, he could probably use a lot of help too. I just don't like the way she treats him. Anyway, so then they go and they play miniature golf. Listen, or putt-putt. I don't know what y'all call it. I call it miniature golf. The people I know call it miniature golfing. I don't call it putt-putting. But whatever. So they go and he's better at this than she is. And she's visibly upset because she's so competitive that she's not getting holes in ones like he is in his dress shoes, because of course he still has on dress shoes for golfing stuff. Or whatever, miniature golfing. It's called golfing stuff here. I wrote down, she can't even go along with coming up with a nickname. Like when you go bowling, don't you put up a nickname? I'm Sunshine. Like, what do y'all put up? He was like, I'm Eagle, you Dragon. Like, what's the big deal? He shows us pictures of him at his company, like, picnic, and he's got on short shorts with the fray and some sandals. Look, I was looking at that outfit like, Jacob. Number one, it's inappropriate for work. Number two, Jacob, them shorts need to be a little longer. I know you got good legs, but, you know, and she was judging him, looking her nose down at him, because that is what he was. But, you know, he's funny. I mean, and quirky. Now, I know that let's just take a pause. Let's just take a break. Because I know that if the man that I was dating showed me a photo of him in those jean shorts, I would not be okay. I would say something about them too. Like, you still got them shorts? Please don't wear them shorts no more. That's not appropriate for a grown-ass man. That's not appropriate for any man. Let me tell it that I'm dating, right? That's what I would say for the men that I'm dating, okay? If it's okay for the men you're dating, great. But the man I'm dating, no. And I'm not leading him on. I'm not going to talk about we can keep trying like Hailey keeps doing. Because, granted, Jacob is quirky as fuck. So they were tasked also with writing a letter to their younger self and sharing it with their spouse. Jacob's was quick and to the point, pretty much, don't be a bitch. And, I don't know, don't give up. Like, Hailey is like asking him to elaborate. And Jacob's like, no, like, you know, for them to say last time that they were going to try, they lied. Like, no. And Jacob is not being more communicative at all, right? He is not sharing any more information than he was before. But I know that you guys be like he don't talk, right? Yeah, he don't. But I think when he was trying, he stopped when he realized that she didn't want him, right? And she just irritated. So they just really do need to just sit awkwardly on the couch and look at each other. Nevertheless, Hailey, when she read her letter, I don't remember what she wrote, but what I wrote was she's still hurting from her relationship from when she was 15 and really needs to go seek counseling. She's really a mean girl in her spirit. She is. Jacob then sparks a conversation and he says, what would you tell yourself the night before you got married? What would you have told yourself? She said she would say, calm down, you're in for a ride, or something like that. He said, I would say return the bracelet. Don't give her the bracelet. And so this is the first time we're hearing about a bracelet. Lord have mercy, Jacob. You bought this woman you didn't know an $800 bracelet. You should have went and got her a Pandora bracelet, okay? For $50, $60 if you wanted to spend some money. But I get it. It was an infinity bracelet. It was a great thought. You thought this was going to be your forever wife. He was annoyed. He has not seen her with the bracelet, wear the bracelet, bring the bracelet home, nothing, talk about the bracelet at all, period. The last time he saw it was probably when he gave it to the producers to give as a gift. She had the nerve to say, well, I haven't seen you with the hat on that I got you. The Alabama hat, you gave him an Alabama hat as your wedding gift to him. That was $20, that's $800. Now, it should be the thought behind it, right? It should be the thought, because I guess she's from Alabama. And, you know, I guess, I suppose the college town, she's from Alabama. That's where she went or something. And, I understand it's the thought behind it. He tells her, well, I never wore it, but it's here. I haven't even seen the bracelet. She goes on to explain, well, I gave it to my mom to take, gave it to my mom. And she took it home with her. So it's been in Alabama all this time. This is showing her true character. This is showing her true fucking character. Like, she's selfish and self-centered, okay? Like, you didn't think that he would want to see you wear the bracelet? Why did your mom take it back? Y'all couldn't have put it in the bag? Like, everything was everywhere? Were you giving the bracelet to your mom? Like, what was really going on? Why did your mom have the bracelet? So they're sitting on the couch awkwardly waiting for Dr. Pepper to show up. Nobody's saying anything. They're on opposite ends of the couch. Thank God she finally shows up. And Dr. Pepper immediately says to Jacob, you have a sad face. Why is your face so sad? Like, you know, he's like, given the circumstances and the situation that I'm in, right? So they do the unanswered questions thing. And I wrote down I wrote down, Hailey, your question is shallow as fuck. Like, why doesn't he want to be casual? Why doesn't he want to dress down? All of her issues with him are aesthetic. I mean, granted, it starts aesthetic, let's say that. Like, physically aesthetic, she's not attracted to him. And then it moves forward on to they don't have anything in common and they don't communicate well with one another. Like, that is what it is. And, you know, and she's like, it seems, the way it sounds seems like it's shallow, but I just want to know, like, why won't you wear tennis shoes? Why don't you? Why this? Why that? And he's all like, I don't like them. Like, it's just that simple. I don't like them. So maybe buy him some what they call boat shoes, which have the rubber sole. You know, the boat shoes that the people wear when they're yachting. They're not necessarily tennis shoes, but they have the ridges, so they do the same. They have the same effect. Jacob says, you know what? Honestly, the basic respects are missing. Period. He talks about the bracelet again. And Hailey is just so dismissive of Jacob's feelings and how he feels. Like, it's valid. Like, girl, you ain't never wore the bracelet. The bracelet isn't even in your possession. He thought about you. You haven't seen it. It is conducive and indicative of the relationship that you have with him now. Dr. Pepper pulls her coattail, honey, and I want to tell you, when I say pull it, she pulls it hard and says, you lack compassion and kindness. There is none. I don't see any on your end. Her face is very stoic. She's very dismissive of what Jacob is saying and how he's feeling. Versus, though Jacob doesn't communicate well or whatever y'all want to say, he does try, right? He does try. Her response to Dr. Pepper was, I shut down and check out when I'm done. And I just didn't know how I would share that. Like, how am I going to share the same way you do with your friends and your family and all them other people? So Dr. Pepper leaves. I wrote down, at minimum, she should return that bracelet to him because she doesn't like him. She doesn't want to be with him. Return that bracelet to him. So she leaves, and Dr. Pepper leaves, and then homegirl goes in her room, closes the door, calls her mother. Tells her mother, can you send the bracelet back to me? Send the gift back. Send the bracelet back so he could have it in his possession. Also says he gave back the hat, just left it on the dresser. I wrote down, her mother is an enabler, because her mother kept saying, oh, this is horrible. This is horrible. Your mom, why do you think that you should have the bracelet there? Mom, you don't think that it's weird that the bracelet is there? Mom, were you kind of keep the bracelet? And mom's like, I'm gonna FedEx it, I'm gonna overnight it to you or whatever. And he keeps bringing up the cost of it. I'm all like, yeah, because $800 is a lot of money for somebody I don't know. I don't like Hailey. I was having some sympathy for her, but her character is showing she's mean, she's dismissive, she doesn't care about anybody but herself, very much so self-centered, and is not self-aware, does not know how she looks, does not know how to be compassionate, is very judgy, like look down, sit high and look low, like, and she actually does not have the room to do that. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think about this episode down below in the comments. What do you think? I think that all of the couples should cut their losses and go on about their business at this point, including Bria and Vincent. Though they have the most successful chance, I still feel like they should cut their losses and move on too. Reason being is that they're not going to see eye to eye about children, about finances. You know, it's going to be an issue. Anyway, I am your girl, Talisa Ray. Thank you so much for watching my review of Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 14? Was this? 14. It If it's your first time visiting my channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button to become a ray of sunshine. There's that notification bell next to it. Click it and make it say all so you're alerted of all the videos I upload moving forward. Hit the like button. Tell the people that you like me and share it too so that they can come and have the conversation with us for these last couple weeks that we have before decision day and the reunion. I love you in real life and want every good thing that God has in store for you, even if you don't know what that is for yourself. Hugs and kisses and lots of love. I'll catch you on the next review.